Hi everyone, I'm Rahul, and in this video I'll walk you through one of the latest features in ImageKit, which is creative automation. Using this feature, your team would be able to create marketing banners or social media posts or catalog images, or be able to create banners with A/B testing or in different languages using simple templates like the one that you see on my screen right now, and would be able to create banners in bulk, like the ones that follow the same template, the same style, but they actually use different text and different images, so making it easier for them to launch marketing campaigns. I'll discuss this in three parts. Like, first, how do we create a template? How do we introduce variables in it? And then how do we actually use creative automation to create new banners using those templates and by using the AI assist feature. So let's get started. Now, in this particular video, we will recreate this template, right? So there's a product image at the center, there is a logo at the top, the category name just below the image in light gray text, and then we have the discount percentage in a bigger, bolded black color text just beneath that, right? So the first step that we want to do is to recreate that template within the creative automation section. So we click on creative automation, we go to templates, and then we click on new template over here. When we click on new template, we are first asked to select a size. I need to create a 480 by 640 banner, like you can see over here. So I'll just add that dimension, 480 by 640. The background color white is actually fine, so we'll get started with that. Now, when we are starting a template, we will first create a template without any variables, right? So we will pick up exact layers that we want to add. If I look at this particular template, I need to have a logo layer, I need to have a product image, I need to have some category text, and I need to have a discount percentage text at the bottom, right? The three most important transformations that are there in ImageKit that will help you do that are actually the layer transformations. The canvas layer is used to add like a gradient or a solid colored layer on the base image. An image layer adds an image itself, and a text layer adds a string of text on the image, right? So we'll first start with the image layer. When we click on this, we can actually pick up an image from our media library, which we want to create the template for now. So we'll start with this particular image. Let's say sweatshirt one. We select this, and as you can see in this particular template, it does not go end to end. There is some gaps on the right and the left. This is a 480 pixel banner, so let's say we leave out 15 pixels from both the edges, and we will leave out 100 pixels from the top and 100 pixels from the bottom. So that will give us 450 in width, and we'll get 440 in height, right? And let's apply that first. Now this comes out to be perfectly placed, except for the fact that we need to add a radius to actually match the template that we have here, right? So we'll just scroll down a bit, and we will add a radius transformation. So I'll give it a radius for 15 pixels, and let's apply that. Right, so this matches, but just to be sure that we are placing it at the exact same place, I will additionally specify the position X and the position Y parameters as well. Now these parameters, they actually allow us to position where does this layer appear in the image. In this case, I want the anchor point to be center because I want it to be like perfectly centered on my banner. And then I don't want it to move at all from either the X or the Y center, right? So I will just mark both of these as 0. It won't change anything visible in the output, but just to be sure that we are defining the position, I have added these two as well, right? So we have our first layer in place. I will go ahead and rename this and call it the product image. This layer name is just for us to understand, when we come back to this template later, that which layer refers to which particular part of the template, right? Now, next step is that we want to add a new transformation. Again, we will select the image layer because now we want to add the logo that needs to appear here. Again, we'll select the image from here. Let's select this particular logo. And in this case, I actually want the logo, because we have left like 100 pixels from the top. I don't want the logo to take up the entire 100 pixels, right? So we'll take it as 80 pixels, but the width is like 100 should be a reasonable size. So we'll keep it at 100 by 80, but we don't want the logo to be cropped because the logos would be there in quite a few different dimensions. We don't want the logo to be cropped. So we will select a crop mode called C at max. If you read the definition here, it resizes to contain the logo inside a box, but it does not crop, right? So I'm selecting C at max. And in terms of position, now again, I want it to be anchored to the top, and I do not want it to move horizontally. So my X position does not change with respect to the top. It remains at 0. But my Y position from the top, like where does it need to be placed vertically, because we are leaving like 100 pixels from the top, and I want the logo to be centered in that 100 pixels. So it has to be 100 by 2, which is 50, right? So I will leave my position Y center as 50. And if we apply that, you can see that the logo comes up at the right place. I'll go ahead and rename this layer as the logo layer. Now, next up is that we want to add the product category text, right? So the sweatshirt text that appears over here, that is what we want to add. I'll again click on add new transformation and select the text layer this time. Let's type out the text, which is sweatshirt. And now I want it to be placed over here, right? Which is perfectly at the center of the image when I look at it like across the horizontal axis, but vertically I need to be placed at some position above the bottom edge of the image, right? So to do that, what we will do is that we will select the bottom position as our anchor point, because this is where we want to start placing it from. Again, my X does not have to change at all, right? It has to stay 0. But my Y center actually needs to be a few pixels up from the bottom edge. So let's say I want it to be in the top third. I will set it to minus 75 because I want it to be like 75 pixels above from the bottom edge. Let's try and apply that first. And we do get the text, but it does not match the exact style that we want. So we'll make the font text a bit bigger and we will change the color of the text. Let's make it a little lighter gray. And now when we apply this, we can see that it comes close to the template that we actually want. Now, if you were using Figma, you would have these exact values actually available, let's say in a Figma file, or if you're using Photoshop, you would have similar values available from there. So it's usually a matter of just copy pasting the same thing in the template over here. I'll rename this layer now to category text. And we'll go on and add the last transformation that we want, which is again a text layer. And this would be, let's say, up to 20% off. But this time we want it to be at the bottom, but it does not have to be so high up like the sweatshirt text. So we'll probably leave it at minus 40. We don't want it to go all the way up to like minus 75, but we know that, okay, this text needs to be larger and bolder than the previous one, right? So we'll increase the font size. We used 18 the last time. We're taking it up to 30. We'll mark it as bold, and we can select a color actually from the color picker, right? And we'll take it to like absolutely black over here, right? So we can remove this opacity. Let's do that. And we can see that the discount text actually comes pretty nicely at the bottom, right? Let me rename this layer as the discount layer, discount text. And we can give this template a name as, let's say, template sale banner, right? And we can save this. Now this basically becomes our template, which we will then use to automate different things. But this is just step one. Till now, we have just added like fixed product images, or we have added fixed logos over here. Now, creative automation would only work if some of these things could be a variable, right? So you, let's say, want to have a possibility of changing the logo, you want to have a possibility of changing this image, but the rest of the template and the positioning and the styles remain the same, but you still want to have flexibility of changing that. Now, to do that in creative automation, in any template, right, even if it were to be an existing template that you have within creative automation, is that when you hover on any layer, you would have these curly braces that pop up, right? Clicking on these curly braces actually turns anything into a variable. So if I click on this, it gives me a pop-up that what is it that I want to call this variable. Let's call this product image, and we will save it. And you can see that this purple box now indicates that this is a variable, that the product image can be varied. And for now, its default value is coming from this particular sweatshirt one image that we have picked up. Input assets is actually a folder within the ImageKit DAM. So if I were to show you the DAM assets, the input assets folder actually contains this sweatshirt one. So the path that you see over here is coming from that. Similarly, for the logo layer, we want the logo to be a variable because for different brands, we will use different logos. So again, I'll click on the curly braces icon here. I will call it the logo image. And it again has a default value for the logo path that we are using. Again, this comes from the input assets folder itself. We will apply this. and I missed applying it on the previous one, so I'll just redo that again, right? We'll save this and apply, right? We'll do the same thing for category text, because we know that if we create banners for different categories, the text itself can vary. Now, the important thing to note here is that we are only going to vary the text, right? We are not going to vary the font color or the font style or its placement, right? So that's why we are not marking any other thing as a variable, though we potentially could have. But we know that, okay, in this particular use case, or in fact 99% of your templated banner creation, you would not actually need to change a lot of these other parameters. So we're leaving everything aside. And again, the discount text, because it can vary for different product categories, we want the discount text to be a variable as well. And we apply this. Now, if you see these layers that are coming up over here, you see this one in the curly braces. This basically indicates that there is one variable that is available in each of these layers right now. And then you see a total variable count of 4, which is there across all of the layers that are there in this particular template, right? So if I click on these 4 variables, I would be able to see the 4 variables that are there inside this template, right? So now, this is the state where we actually want to be in, where we have created a template and we have marked certain fields that can be varied when we create more banners from this particular template in the future, right? So let's close this and go to the next part of our creative automation process. Your template would actually start showing up here with the default values that you selected. But now we want to go to the next part of creative automation, is that how do we create more banners using this template, right? And by varying these variables that we have set. You can go to the template section, see the template that you want to use, and click on use template, right? Let's say I call this summer banners June 2026. And I can specify an optional goal, which is just a helper text for your team to know that why are these banners being created, or why is this job being created to create banners, new banners for website, right? So we'll click on this. Now there are a few ways that would come up in the future. For now, we have 2 ways which are available, which is start blank and upload CSV. I'll start with start blank so that I can actually show you both the methods, right? So we'll click on start blank first. This view actually gives you the 4 variables that are there, and each row corresponds to one banner that you will have, right? So let's say this is the default banner that we had set, right, with the default values. Now let's say I want to create a banner for my shoes category, right? So I will select a shoe from here, which is there in my banner. Now let's say I want to change the logo image. It's not, let's say, Lamaro, it's a different brand. So I will select a different logo. And the category obviously is different, so I will select formal shoes, and I will set the discount percentage as up to 30%, right? So as you keep changing these values in real time, you can see that the banner itself is changing. It's still following the same template, the logo at the top, the product image at the center, the category text, and the discount percentage, but these are values that you actually created over here. Now let's say I want to create a slightly different version of the same banner. I can just duplicate the same layer. You can see that the same values get copied, and let's say I want to run up to 20% off on a different, let's say, platform, but I want to just create a same banner. Or I can click on just add another item and select the images that are there in my media library. I can, let's say, select this particular image, and let's say I pick up the logo for XYZ apparel, and I put in the category text as shirts and the discount percentage as flat 25% off. Now you can see that when I hover on any of these, I can actually see the banner that's getting created in real time. Now if I just want to export these banners, it's fairly easy that I can just click on this button and export these banners back to my media library like a ready to use asset. But before I do that, I'll just show you a very quick example of what AI Assist can actually do for you. Now in this case, we are adding the text manually, let's say up to 30% off for each of these rows of discount percentages. Let's say I operate in 2 different countries where the 2 languages that are used are different, right? So we don't just want to use English, we want to use, let's say, even Spanish for that matter. Then I can go to AI Assist and I can give it instructions in plain language that create 3 more rows with the same input but the text in Spanish, right? Now when I do this, I just need to give this instruction and the AI would actually just look at whatever rows already exist, and you can see for each of these 3 rows the one with 30% off, the one with 20% off, and one for the shirts category. It actually creates three different inputs for us. I can just click on apply, and then I will get these three new rows. I still have an option of refining the text over here. Let's say if something was not right, I can still go ahead and change this. But the AI assist actually helps you create these translations. Or let's say if my banner had a text, let's say like shop now on the banner, and I want to create like different variations of that shop now text, like buy now or click here, etc. I can ask AI to actually just randomly create matching text, or let's say matching CTA text, and automatically fill it in all the rows that are there. So that saves me a lot of time where if I have to create like different translations of the same banner, or if I want to just quickly experiment with different A/B tests for the same banner, right? Now, once we have all of these rows available, I can click on preview and export. This actually gives you a sort of a real size of the banner that would get exported, and the text and the images. That is something that you can review at this stage. And then when you click on send 6 to media library, you can actually select the folder where all of these 6 banners will get exported. Let's say I want to export it to this folder. I can set it as use this folder. At this stage, I can also, let's say, add different tags to these images. Let's say I want to add a tag to all of these images, that these are sale banners 2026 June, right? I can give them this tag, or I can do some of the other operations that are generally possible in the media library, like remove background, though you would not want to do that. Maybe add auto tags, maybe run some saved extensions to run some AI tasks on them, right? So there are different options that are available at this stage, including being able to, set metadata values at this stage. This actually allows you to organize your banners or tag them, or maybe even like rename them before you actually export them, right? So we'll just look at the common settings one. I didn't save it actually. So sale banners June 2026, and we'll click on save. Now, once I have this tag added, I'll just click on upload 6 files, and it actually starts exporting all of these banners that we created using the automation back to my media library, right? So if I just go back, we'll go to the media library, and we select banner output, and you can see the 6 banners are available over here. Now, all of these 6 banners have the same functionality that you expect from the ImageKit DAM. You can share them, tag them, edit them from the ImageKit editor, right? So all the functionality that you expect on any other asset is available on these banners as well. Plus, for every banner, you get a ready-to-use URL. These are accessible via our headless APIs as well. So once you have a URL, this becomes like an embeddable image, which can be used then directly on your website and app. You can see that it has no parameters in the URL, right? So we don't have any resizing or any mention of what logo has been added. This is a complete image in itself, right? It's not a template. We are not transforming anything in real time. It's like a proper image that we have now exported to my banners output folder. Now, there was another way. Instead of manually creating all of these rows that like the way that we did, we can actually go to any job, and we can also upload a sample CSV file, right? So I'll first download a sample CSV file just to show you what a CSV file would look like. The sample file actually looks something like, it has the same variables that we had set in our template, right? So the product image, logo image, category text, and discount text. And the sample CSV has the first row provided as an example that, okay, these are the values that you need to fill. Now I can possibly import, or let's say I can possibly add as many rows that I want. Let's say I add up to 20 rows with, let's say, different category text or different discount percentages in this particular CSV. I can save it. Just for example, I will maybe copy this, and I will change this value. Let's say I'll just set it to shoes, and I will set this to 35% off. I will save this, and if you come back to the job, or let's say if you were to start a new job by uploading a CSV, you can click on upload CSV, and I can actually select the CSV file that we had. It will first ask us to map the template variables to the CSV column. Because we started off with the sample CSV, the mapping is fairly simple. But let's say if you would have had a different CSV file, then you can easily select which column maps to which variable in this case. It also shows you the row count that is there. If I click on import 2 rows, you can see that the 2 rows that we added, where the category text shoe changes and the discount text changes to up to 35%. these two rows actually are the ones that get imported, right? The other rows have been removed. We had already exported them. These are the new rows that got imported using the CSV file. I can still make edits. I can still use AI assist and get it to create more variations from these rows that I've added, or I can just go ahead and simply export these two banners as well in the same way that I did for my previous banners, right? So this is a very quick overview of the creative automation functionality that we have just launched. We believe that it will help your marketing and creative teams to first create these templates and then launch marketing campaigns, or let's say new creatives, very quickly without depending on graphic designers or without depending on anyone in technology team for automating this for them. So do give this feature a try. If you want access to creative automation on your account and you don't have that, do reach out to us on our support channels and we would be happy to help.